Hello everybody. So today I wanted to start kind of a new series on my channel, or we'll see how it goes, but basically in today's video I kind of want to go through one part of my collection, which I chose today, like liquid cream blushes and bronzers and contour products, and kind of dupe hunt, basically just see what in my collection are really similar, what are not, if there's any dupes slash overlaps. You know, I feel like I don't sit down and like actually try and find dupes often, so yeah, I don't know, let's like hop into it. We'll see how this goes. I haven't really thought that much about it. But yeah, I guess, okay, what I'm thinking is I'll kind of go for like the obvious ones first off, or like ones I'm like, are these dupes first off. So the things that come to mind are this e.l.f. Luminous Putty Blush in the shade Isla del Sol, and then the NudeStix blush in Picante. So these are kind of similar. They're both like oranges. So we will just swatch so you can see that orange color there. And then let's see Isla del Sol. The first difference I see off the bat is Isla del Sol is a like shimmer finish. It is the Luminous Putty Blush, and swatching them you can see they're pretty much not dupes at all. I might like remove them because we've tested it, but Isla del Sol is a much more like coral pinky sort of look, while the Caliente is definitely a warm orange, like it is a true orange. So not dupes there, which is a bummer. Let's see what else I'm kind of feeling. So the next dupes I was kind of curious about are this Pat McGrath cream blush in Fluoritique and this e.l.f. monochromatic multi-stick in Sparkling Rose. So I bought these to be like used for the beautiful like Sugar Plum Fairy look that was really popular this winter, but obviously these are very different price points. Okay, they're similar. They're a lot more similar than the other one. They're both kind of glowy. The Fluoritique is not as deep as Sparkling Rose, but I feel like when Sparkling Rose is kind of blended out, they look very similar. The differences I notice are, I think Sparkling Rose is a little bit more like warm, while Fluoritique is more like purple. I feel like the difference there is subtle, although it looks a lot different on camera, I feel. So maybe you can see the difference better, but I'd say those are close, but they're not a dupe. So another miss there. Kind of a bummer. We're not having a ton of hits. Okay, I'm trying to think what else would be a good comparison. I kind of want this to just be like a fun like process of like, let's figure it out together. Funny thing, I realize I don't even have all these products up. Some other colors I thought might be similar. Maybe Sunkissed Cool by NudeStix. I'm gonna swatch that next to this. I would say Sunkissed Cool is pretty similar to the e.l.f. one, although Sunkissed Cool is matte and the e.l.f. is very glowy, so that's at least a little bit similar. These are all kind of like the same family, but I'm not really seeing like a direct hit there. Okay, let's watch these two. I've heard, and you know what, let's do this. I'm trying to think what else would be a good potential dupe. Let's start with these three. So I've heard some, particularly with Bareback by NudeStix, and then this is Latte by Anastasia. So I've heard these might be dupes, so, and they're pretty popular products. So there is Bareback by NudeStix. That is a like cool toned nudie pink. And then this is Latte by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Okay, those are very similar. I think Bareback is probably a touch lighter and pinker. I think in this on camera you can kind of see it, but they are very similar. Let me do another Bareback just to see. I think they're really similar. Yeah, I think Bareback is like the slightest touch pinker, but I would say these are a pretty close dupe. Like, you definitely don't need both, because I feel like they'll have the same effect on the cheeks, and they're both matte, so that feels like a hit. And in swatching these, I'm realizing this is going to be like a totally different color, but I guess we can try this. So this is e.l.f.'s Dusty Rosé. So many dusty rose variations. So we'll swatch this next to it, and very different, like a pink, more like a peachy color. So I guess let's move into that family. I'm curious, I'm like, what else? Maybe this one. Maybe one of these, I'm wondering. Maybe this blush balm, and maybe this. Maybe not that. Okay, let's start with these two. So we have the NudeStix Nudies in Sweet Peach Peony. So let's just swatch this next to it. So those are pretty different. I feel like when the e.l.f. one is kind of blended out, it's a little more similar. So similar effect there. And then let's try this Flower Beauty Blush Balm in Pinched, another liquid blush. So probably very different formulas, and even just like putting that on next to it, it's pretty different. So doesn't look to be a hit there. Yeah, this is like a very brown peach. Okay, not really a hit there either. I'm like, is there any others that could fit this? I'm not sure. I feel like those are kind of out of the running for any potential dupes. I'm wondering. No. Okay. So I'm not feeling good about any of those. Okay. So another fun one I have that I feel like are very similar when I wear them is Poppy Girl and Sunset Strip. So let's try these, and then I'm wondering what else is kind of similar. Maybe this blush balm in Spiced, and this is a Honest Beauty in Rose Pink. Here, I'm gonna swatch this next to the Bareback, actually. Or sorry, not Bareback, the Rose Pink Fleuretique ones. I think that's kind of in that color family. Again, since I have all of these, I'm like trying to find these slight differences, but frankly those are all pretty similar. So I'm actually gonna pull this one out. That seems similar there. Okay, let's just start with the Sunset Strip and Poppy Girl, because these to me always feel very similar. So this is Sunset Strip. We'll swatch this. I'm like, where's the best place? Let's do it here. So kind of a really bright, like, I feel like sunburned pink. Very nice. And then we have Poppy Girl. This is a bit more, okay, yeah. So next to each other, they're definitely different, but they're similar effects. Poppy Girl is definitely brighter. So that's those. And then we'll do Spiced next to this and just see how it goes. I don't really think these will be that similar. Already putting it on, I'm like, nope. Okay, this is definitely a more dusty color. I think it would also be a little more similar to the Fleuretique line up there. So, okay, not a ton of hits. Let's do, this is a brown. I think these browns we'll just do together. I think that's a better shot. This is a pink. I think we'll do these pinks together here. This is a light pink, so we'll do those two, I guess. Let's try Cheeky. I don't think Cheeky is going to fit anywhere. Is this Cheeky? Yeah. This is another kind of dusty pink, so let's put it next to, I'd say it's probably pretty similar to the Bareback Latte realm, but I think this is a little dustier than those two, so I'm gonna remove that because I don't really think there's anything similar. We'll actually do this melon color right under this one just to see how it compares to like the Poppy Girl. I find the Flower Beauty ones to be like pretty unique colors. Okay, this is pretty similar to Poppy Girl. They're pretty similar. Those are very similar effects. Okay, that is potentially a dupe. And I'm looking down, we have this MAC Heat Index, which I think, this is not gonna be a dupe, but I'm gonna swatch that right here, just so you can see. Okay, very different from Poppy Girl, but we have this Blush Mellow from JCat Beauty in Cherry Limeade, so we'll swatch that next to that. Okay, those are really similar. If I could find like the slightest difference, I feel like the JCat Beauty one is like the tiniest bit pinker, but these are pretty dead on to the point where I'm like, I do not need both. So I might declutter this because that's kind of a dead on dupe there. Okay, let's do Sunkissed Pink and just see where it fits in with these. So this is also from NudeStix. This is a lot more purple than really anything I see, or at least like a lot more true pink. So I actually might swatch that along with some of these pinks here. And then let's finish off some of these colors that don't really fit anywhere. So we'll do this Blush Bomb in Spiced. I'm like, where will this fit? Let's put it next to Sunset Strip. Okay, again, a lot more dusty, I feel. I think it's kind of similar, but I don't really think that is a dupe for anything. And then we have this Cheek Dew Serum Blush, which this is just like a red blush, you know? This is also super separated. Ugh, gross. You know what? I might have to get rid of that. That is so separated. Okay, so some fun declutters found. Okay, let's see if there's anything left I want to really swatch. Okay, we have this bright pink from e.l.f. in Pinky Promise. This is, I don't really think this is gonna be a dupe for anything because it's just such a bright pink. We'll just do a tiny swatch. It's actually pretty similar to these two colors, but yeah, so I mean, that's a really close dupe actually. I feel those are really dead on. So that's interesting. Maybe I don't need it, but I do enjoy like the effect of a liquid blush, so I'm not counting that out. Okay. The other thing, I have some bronzers and stuff I just wanted to swatch next to each other. So let's move into these last categories I'm gonna explore. So let's do these bright pinks. So we have Refi in Rose, which is gonna be on my to-use list because these go bad quickly. So I'm gonna compare it to these pinks. They're similar. I think it's, nothing is really like dead on here. So this is pretty unique. I'd say it's probably the closest to Bareback, but Refi has a bit more warmth to it. So that's that color. We will again swatch Sunkissed Pink. I think is going to be very different to this, but I will still swatch it just to give a little comparison here. So similar, but these are pretty different tones, I would say. I think you can definitely see those different tones. Then we have MAC Totally Synced. So again, these are just kind of like shades of pink. This is the light lilac pink. You can hardly even see that, but I think these are all very different. And then the last one we have is Bubbly from Flower Beauty, which I feel like is, I think that's the closest two totally synced, but still I think they're slightly different. So no real dupes there, unfortunately, but we'll swatch these light pinks next to it since these could be similar. This is e.l.f.'s Monochromatic Multi-Stick in Dazzling Peony. So I'll swatch that here. This is, again, really different than all of those. So not really a dupe there. And then we have this e.l.f. Blush in Bermuda, which, oh, pretty different. That's not swatching super smoothly. I'd say that's actually probably the most similar to Sunkissed Pink. I'm gonna swatch it right underneath. Okay, those are really similar. I would say a strong difference is Bermuda is a like glitter finish, or a luminous finish, but those are really similar like effects. So that's kind of fun to see. That's like pretty close, I'd say. Okay, now let's do these luminous blushes. So I've bought all of these in an attempt to find a dupe for Charlotte Tilbury's Pink Gasm. So these are all sort of like knockoffs. So we have Wet n Wild Peach Bum, which is this like amazing glittery peach. Hopefully you can see how awesome that is. Then we have Wet n Wild Hello Halo in Halo Gorgeous. So this one I feel like is less of a dupe, but is more of like a mixer that can make like any blush sort of a dupe. So you can see it's like that frosty pink that mixed with liquid blushes is so pretty. And then we'll do the L'Oreal Lumi Lay Liquid Blush in what freaking color is this? Glowy Rose. So we will swatch that underneath. I would say this liquid blush is pretty similar to the Wet n Wild Peach Bums. They're like I feel like the Glowy Rose one is like slightly pinker, but that's really, really similar. I don't know, maybe it looks more different on camera. I think, yeah, the pink, the Glowy Rose one has like a bit more red / pink in it, while the Peach Bums is like the slightest bit peacher, but they're very, very similar. And then this is just pretty different than both of them, but that's a pretty cool sort of dupe there to be found. I might declutter one of those because those are just so similar, and I need to test which one looks better on my lid or on my cheeks. Okay, last sort of like blushes are these like browns. So we'll start off with this LA Girl Velvet Bronzer Contour Stick. This is such a weird product. It's very sheer, but has this like slight bronze tinge. So I don't even know if you can see that, but I forget what shade it's in. Goddess. Okay, so that's there. Then we have the e.l.f. Monochromatic Multi-Stick in Bronze Cherry. That's there. A much more like sunburned look. I'm like, is that more similar to any of these? No, not really. That's pretty unique. Then we have the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Blush in Barbados, which is this like, see, these are pretty similar. I'd say the Bronze Cherry one is warmer, while this Barbados is more brown, but those are pretty cool together. And then we have the Flower Beauty Blush Balm in Cinnamon, which is obviously not going to be glowy like any of those, but we'll just swatch that to see. And that's a much more like caramely brown. So no real dupes there. Those are all pretty different. So we'll do a quick thing of bronzers just to do it. I don't really think these will be that similar. They might be. I'll swatch here. Okay, so first we have the Beauty in Double Take 3, I guess. We're only gonna swatch the contour shade I've had this for ages, but this is just a really good, cool contour shade. So that's the first. Guess we'll just start with contour. So then we have this e.l.f. Halo Glow Beauty Wand. We'll swatch that right next to it. I would say these are very similar tones. The e.l.f. Halo Beauty Wand is like maybe a touch lighter, and I also know from experience it blends out to a very sheer finish, while the Oma Beauty is less sheer, so I'm trying to like kind of blend it out there at the end. And then we have Westman Atelier in Biscuit, which looks like this. So this is definitely like warmer. Like I'd say there's a bit of pink in there, but it's definitely a lot warmer than the Oma Beauty and the e.l.f. one. So that's kind of interesting because this is also marketed as like a really good like pale girl product. Okay, now these are more bronzers, but you know, we can compare them to each other. So let's do the Makeup Revolution Cream Bronzer in Light. There's literally like a hair, but this is pretty close to Biscuit. It's definitely warmer, but I'd say more in the color family of Biscuit. Then we have the Physicians Formula Mineral Wear Diamond Bronzer, which I have been enjoying a lot. There we go. That is super, a lot warmer, a lot lighter than those. So this also blends out to a pretty sheer finish and is very glowy. So, you know, something to work with there. Then we have my e.l.f. Flawless Brightening Concealer, which I use as bronzer in the shade Tan 45N. We'll swatch that. I'd say that's a lot more similar to the Diamond Wear Bronzer, but this also blends out really sheer just because it's like a concealer, so effect is similar to the Diamond Wear Balm. And then the last liquid bronzer I have is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Contour in a deeper shade, and this is in the shade Medium Tan. And in terms of bronzers, I would say like no real dupes. I guess like these are similar, but again, they perform very differently in liquid versus cream and what they blend out to. These are kind of similar, like more similar than I would have expected. Because Biscuit I've always thought is very cool toned, while this is very warm toned, I've always thought. So interesting to observe there. Okay, that is all. Definitely some interesting products found. I would say there are definitely some overlaps in my collection that is kind of frustrating to see, of course. You know, some of the overlaps I see are in products I've already felt, you know, I didn't need or whatever. And some, you know, I guess it's funny, there are some declutters, don't worry, I will be decluttering some of them, but you know, that dupe here, and then the ColourPop Cheek Serum Blush has definitely gone bad. These two glowy blushes are just so similar. I'm gonna decide which one's like more glittery and just keep the other. So I feel like I'll probably be decluttering the Wet n Wild one, which is so sad to think about. But anyways, yeah, I guess this is kind of fun to do, just to look through my collection and just swatch it out and really see. I had this idea because I was like, I just feel like there are dupes in my collection and I need to go through them and look. I am a little intimidated about putting this back in its storage, but it is fun to just swatch and see what's similar. Yeah, I don't know, this was interesting. I'm like looking, I'm glad there's a lot less dupes than I thought there would be. Like I think there's a lot of similar ones. These are all very similar, even though they have that slight variation, but I think it's still kind of a moment of like, okay, you don't need all of those. I don't know, it's interesting. So yeah, hopefully that was kind of interesting. It's hard to do this with like powders and then also with like blushes and lipsticks, like those can be kind of interchangeable. So I don't know how I'll do that because there are some like lipsticks where I'm like, like I do use those as blushes, but with powder blushes, they're just so different from a cream blush that it's kind of like impossible to compare. But I figured I'd start here and we could move forward and see how this does and see how I feel about it. But yeah, that was kind of fun. So hopefully that was enjoyable to watch for you guys, and we'll see if I make more, but I'll see you guys next time. Bye.